Dalton was just about to leave for the evening when Veronica turned to him. Dalton? Yes, what is it, Veronica? Would you like to spend the night here? Sure, that would be wonderful. Where can I sleep? Seriously? Sure. Come with me. It's just around the corner. At the end of the hallway. Mike and Veronica come to the end of the hallway where Veronica's bedroom is. This is a beautiful bedroom, Veronica. I notice you have a telescope. Can I have a look? Sure, take a look through it. Mike looks through the telescope and sees a beautiful array of planets and constellations on that warm evening in early June. You see that planet to the west of Orion? I can see it. Which planet is that? That's planet John Q. It is? How do you know? On some nights, planet John Q, though many light years away, emits a brilliant light, enabling it to be seen by the naked human eye here on Earth. When this occurs, if you're staring right at the planet, you receive alien messages transmitted to your mind through a kind of transom that connects material reality to non-material reality in the field of thought forms. Are they in the form of words? No, it's pure thought. You receive thoughts from aliens on planet Jandaku in a kind of esoteric field where your thoughts can be sent to the aliens. That's fascinating. Is there any part alien in particular that you are getting to know? There's a male alien named Kando and a female alien named Isidorix I've become acquainted with. They are in a lover's dispute. Turn around and looking back at you, Veronica. Veronica turns around and sees Kando and Isidorix back of him. They've apparently teleported to Earth and are standing there in Veronica's bedroom. Greetings, Earthlings. Hi. Wow. How did you get here so quickly? We teleported from planet John Q. Nice bedroom. Thanks, Kando. Would you aliens like a drink or something? No, we have to get going. Kando and Isidore teleported back to planet John Q. Wow. So now you met Kando and Isidorix. That was interesting. You should be with me, Veronica. We'll talk about it. Dalton and Veronica had a wonderful evening. Dalton sees Veronica in the parking lot after school. They start talking to each other. Meanwhile, in the Dream Love Theater, Dalton and Veronica from Heathers 2 are talking to each other in the realm where parallel narrative is taking place. Okay. So wait a minute. That was the movie Within Heathers 2. And then there's a parallel narrative. I wrote this. So, okay, wait a minute. Okay. So wait a minute. Okay. you want to get some popcorn? Sure. Veronica and Dalton come back to their realm, from the realm where parallel narrative takes place. Oh, I see. Okay, that's what happened there. Okay. To go to the concession stands for popcorn. So they entered the realm. Within Heathers 2, they enter the realm where parallel narrative takes place. But then they came back into the realm where Heathers 2 takes place to get popcorn. Okay, I got it. Okay. So that's what I meant when I wrote that. Okay. Um, okay. They start eating their popcorn and having a conversation. This is fascinating. We are watching our younger selves in a parallel narrative. I'm just trying to see. Okay, I'm flipping through my notebook to see what it picks up. Parallel narrative to Heathers. It's amazing to see the scenes that took place that were not included in the movie. So this is what I meant by this. In the movie Heathers, the original movie, okay, this what you're witnessing right now, what you're listening to right now is Heathers 2. This is my script for Heathers 2. So the narrative here is that in Heathers 2, there's a character named Dalton Down, there's a character named Veronica Sawyer. And now they go to the Dream Love Theater in Heathers 2 to see a version of the original Heathers, but it's a parallel narrative version of the original Heathers. So it's like some of the scenes that you don't see in the movie, then nonetheless they actually took place. It's like all the things that you didn't see in the movie that were happening in tandem with all the scenes that actually were filmed and they made the final cut of the movie. So that's the parallel narrative. So in Heathers 2, Dalton Donner, one of the new characters I wrote into Heathers 2, and Veronica Sawyer are at the Dream Love Theater and they're watching parallel narrative. So then they enter parallel narrative temporarily. Then they return from parallel narrative back into the Dream Love Theater within Heathers 2 to get some popcorn. Okay. I just had to remember what I meant by that stuff. Okay. Yeah, people who are fans of Heather should see parallel narrative to get the whole story. The real story of Heathers is really the original movie, along with the parallel narrative. Dalton and Veronica went back to the theater to watch the rest of the parallel narrative. They come out of the Dream Love Theater to a beautiful moonlit evening and were greeted by Kando and Isidorix. It's nice to see you. Hi. It's nice to see you, Kando and Isidorix. Are you getting along? Romance is blossoming. Can we come to your lake house? That's not very polite, Kando. You don't just invite yourself to my lake house. Why not? Because it's not proper etiquette. You're supposed to wait for the person to invite you. If they do invite you, then you graciously accept their invitation. We're coming to your lake house. What? You are not coming to my lake house. You have not been invited. We are coming to your lake house. Stay out of it, Isidorix. You and Kando are not coming to my lake house. Either Isidorix and I come to your lake house, or you are going to be teleported to Planet John and Q. You can't teleport us to Planet John and Q, Kando. Watch me. Kando and Isidorix got in their spaceship and traveled back to Planet John and Q. You don't really think Kando can teleport us back to Planet John and Q, do you? Let's hope not. I don't want to go live with a bunch of aliens. Let's go to your lake house. Sure. Della and Veronica went back to Veronica's lake house. They had a wonderful evening. They got up early, nice morning, and went for um, a walk along Lake Serenity. It was a breezy and warm morning in late June, and there was a brightness to the day that lent itself to an eternal optimism. This place is beautiful, Veronica. I would really love to see you purchase it. Believe me, I want to. I can't afford it. If I moved in with you, you could afford it. That would be nice. You have to be faithful to me if you want to keep me. I have been faithful to you, Veronica. I've had lustful thoughts about other women, but I didn't actually cheat on you. Commitment is predicated on total devotion to your lover, and thoughts and actions. Sexual activity is an empty physical experience when it is not connected to a true love. I agree wholeheartedly, Veronica. I know I joked around about it in the past, but I believe in commitment, and sex is a beautiful expression of the consummation of love. That's the right thing to say. Think of the wonderful new memories we could form if I was to move in with you. A house is only an object constructed out of wood and other miscellaneous materials until it is illuminated by the souls of lovers so deeply in love that their love is an essence of beauty that brings transcendence to the hearts and minds of human beings and tranquility to places. I agree. Do you want to go back to your lake house for lunch? Sure. Dalton and Veronica went back to the lake house to find JD leaning against his black Corvette with his arms crossed and a jealous look on his face. Hmm? Good morning, you lovers. Fancy seeing you here. Fancy seeing us here? What the fuck are you doing here, JD? Nobody invited you to Veronica's lake house. I didn't need an invitation. You see, my dad's construction company built this beautiful house. Veronica has been defaulting on rental payments. Unless she pays the rent, she's out of here. Her rent check is in the mail. Now get the fuck out of here. I call the police. Why did you leave me for the science nerd, Veronica? He's not a nerd. He's a cool person who's a brilliant scientist. Whatever, Veronica. With that, JD, looking extremely sad and dejected, cruises off back to his home in his Corvette. Let's have some lunch. Yeah, sure. Dalton and Veronica talked in the afternoon and wonderful evening. Dalton and Veronica got up the next morning and walked to Lake Serenity. It was a cloudy, unseasonably cool morning for midsummer with an almost autumnal chill in the air. That JD has really turned out to be a bastard, hasn't he? Yeah, the situation is not good. I have this beautiful lake house that I can only keep if I make rental payments to that son of a bitch. Well, maybe you should look into another lake house on some other lake. Hmm? I don't like the idea of you here. Not when JD's day construction company is involved. I agree with that. I don't like dealing with JD and his dad's construction company as a renter of this house, especially considering the fact that JD is a bitter about me leaving him. I like that it's just like he has this pathetic jealousy wherever he goes, whenever he sees me with you. What is it that keeps you here despite such unnerving circumstances? Hmm? It's the house itself. I feel great in this house. This house seems to communicate with me on a subliminal level, giving me a sense of eternal pleasure and security as it illuminates my soul with the knowledge of the truth of limitless beauty as I wander through labyrinthine realms of indescribable transcendence. Really? You feel all that inside this house? I was just looking outside the window the other day and I saw a bum eating scraps of food out of your garbage can. This place gives me a feeling of being eternally disgusted by the utter depravity of a humanity that, despite having evolved socially, economically, technologically, and intellectually, still is in a distorted state. Oh, the guy who eats my garbage? He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of yours? The guy who eats scraps of food out of your garbage. Yes, he is. First of all, why would you befriend a bum who eats your garbage? He's not a bum. Come again? He's not a bum. He most certainly is not a bum. I always thought that if you ate garbage out of garbage cans, that would seem to imply that you are a bum. Here's the difference. Yeah. He eats my garbage because he likes it. He's actually a multimillionaire with a strange fascination with garbage. He's part of a secret society of garbage eating millionaires, unbeknownst to most people, except for me and you now, who are on a quest to find a perfect meal that they harvested from people's garbage. They compare results with each other and hold discussions about the nuances and subtleties of the garbage that they have eaten. As a matter of fact, there's a cable television station that is only available. It's like closed circuit TV to those to them, where they have a weekly show about the different homes they ate garbage at. They they tape episodes and have discussions about trash cuisine in a similar way to the show Check Please. What? That's really bizarre. uh, how about it? What's the guy's name who eats your garbage? I don't know. I was just kidding. I didn't know that you saw somebody eating my garbage. Really? You saw somebody eating my garbage? Yes, I did, Veronica. I think you should move. Okay, so that was a bizarre incident that you happen to see. Assuming that is the exception and not the rule, I want to keep my lake house. I know it is a beautiful place, and when I walk along the lake with you, my soul is transported to a plane of existence, whereupon I feel the numinous glow of my soul, of my self awareness, in a place of otherworldly pleasures that can only be felt by the union of the souls of lovers who have found each other on this fleeting, temporal plane of existence in a society of people, many of whom inhabit mortal physical forms animated by souls that are dead to the sublime and transcendent feeling of an alive soul. I feel that way when I'm with you too. These pleasures that I feel are not strictly physical pleasures derived from a mortal physical form, but the transcendent pleasures of a soul that has found its soulmate and is enlightened by the awareness of the existence of higher levels of reality beyond this illusory plane of existence. Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Would you like to take a walk by the lake? Sure. That'd be wonderful. Okay, let's go. Della and Veronica took a walk along Lake Serenity. They went back to Veronica's lake house and proceeded to have a wonderful evening. Della and Veronica got up the next morning and took a walk to Lake Serenity. What a beautiful afternoon it is, isn't it? It is. The warm summer breeze massages my skin as I look upon the placid waters of Lake Serenity, finding meaning and significance in nature, and love and destiny in the cosmos. Would you like to take a walk around town? Sure. Dalton and Veronica drove into town. Look, Dalton, they are showing the original Heathers as a matinee at the Dream Love Theater. Look, it's an enhanced version of the movie. It's titled Heathers Seen by the Eyes of Love. They walk up to the ticket booth to purchase their tickets. They find Mike Meyer at the ticket booth. That's correct. The movie is titled Heathers, Seen by the Eyes of Love, because it is a film containing not only the movie, but the movie being watched by me at home. So it's like if it was like filmed like me at home, filmed watching Heathers, and as I'm watching the movie, this movie is like the augmentation of Heathers with me watching the movie and my responses. I don't say anything. It's just the expression you see in my eyes. And so it kind of pans back and forth to my expressions to scenes in the movie. So you see the movie, and it's kind of like, well, when you see a movie, it's kind of like it's got like the when you see what do they call it, like with the commentary over it of the maybe the original writer or the director of the movie. So it'd be like me, but not commentary. This would be like me at home watching Heathers, and like you could just pretty much read my facial expressions and my responses just from the facial expressions, and almost like a silent film actor would like have to like convey a lot of emotions and notions through his eyes and facial expressions. Okay. Um, on the movie screen, you see the movie itself and me, Mike Meyer, at home watching the movie on a rented video on my television. Okay. Um, you see the expressions on my face that convey the emotions that I felt during each scene of the movie. When you look into my eyes during a particular scene, my emotions and my notions relating to that scene can be gleaned by observation. Yeah, the exact moment that I fell in love with Winona Ryder watching Heathers, on video at home can be seen in my eyes. And you can see it in my eyes. You can see the very moment I fell in love with Winona Ryder as I'm watching Heather's. So it's kind of like what was actually happens is kind of like you took if you took like this is kind of like a this is where science meets superstition. It's kind of like where I mean, if they actually you took like this is where science meets like okay, science. You've got science, which is like the explains the how of things, but the supernatural and anything on an esoteric level it explains more of the why of things. And well, anyways, what I'm driving at is like if you saw like if you took a moment in time and you were able to splice it to a past moment in time, you're able to splice it to a future moment in time. So let's say you took like the moment in time when I first fell in love with Winona Ryder, watching the movie Heather's. It was actually in this movie Heather's, viewed from the as seen by the eyes of love, or watched by the eyes of love. What's it called again? Okay, whatever. And you okay? So within that movie, it's kind of like the movie is kind of like the splicing of that moment that I fell in love with Winona Ryder and like the movie itself on the screen, but it's like spliced from reality. It's like it's so this is what I mean by how science meets superstition, or science meets the supernatural and the esoteric. So it's like if you took like scientifically, you could actually splice something, and that's like the technological, and that's kind of like the technical aspect of the scientific, explaining how it's done scientifically, but like within the contextually speaking, within like the non-consensual kind of like realm of where the why takes place and where things happen on an immaterial level within the archetypal realm where Heather's 2 takes place. You could the movie Heather's 2 is taking place in that realm. Okay, what am I saying? And so like within reality, concrete reality that we experience on an everyday basis, this mortal plane of existence where us mere mortals actually inhabit these mortal our immortal souls and inhabit these mortal bodies. So like the that actual happenstance of what took place when I was the moment in which I fell in love with Winona Ryder watching Heather's is actually spliced from time, but it's spliced and it's like taken out of concrete reality into non-consensual reality where you know all the things that are numinous and esoteric take place. But it's spliced into Heather's 2, and that's what Heather's 2 is. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So that's what happens. So what you are witnessing is Heather's 2 as seen. What did I title it? As seen as I called it seen by the eyes of love. Yeah, okay. Heather's seen by the eyes of love. But okay. But actually, Heather's seen by the eyes of love is actually a movie that takes place within Heather's 2. So it's that's like it's Heather's 2 being seen by Veronica Sawyer and Dalton Donner, which is the character that I wrote into Heather's 2. And they're watching like the movie Heather's Seen by the Eyes of Love, which is like the original Heather's as seen by me, Mike Meyer. And when I originally saw it, like when I was a young man, and when I fell in love with Winona Ryder, and so it's like if you splice that moment in time, and you attach it to Heather's as seen by the eyes of love. No, that's what Heather's as seen by the eyes of love is. It's like a splicing of that moment in time, but it's actually you can only see it in the archetypal realm where Heather's 2 takes place. But I mean, right now as it is, the only people are Dalton who exist in the realm where Heather's 2 takes place are Dalton Donner and Veronica Sawyer, the characters that I wrote into Heather's 2. So I'm going to try to find a way. I'm going to see if it's possible for actual people that exist on this concrete material plane of existence. If there are people, if there is a way that I could find where people can actually enter the realm where Others Two takes place, where they could see um, the movie Heather's Seen by the Eyes of Love in that realm. Then I'll see if I can do that. And I think that the only way to do that would be to I would have to like really further my education in quantum physics. I mean, I know a certain amount of things about quantum physics from what I've read, but I would have to, I think I would probably have to have like a more intimate knowledge of it, a more of a more even deeper insight into it, and I would have to actually marry that with my knowledge of some of the more esoteric disciplines and studies, such as like you know um, shamanism and existentialism. Well, existentialism, within the field of existentialism, I think that's kind of an that they kind of believe in just strictly mortality and that's it. But I think within my if I married science with shamanism and um, transcendental meditation, um, certain types of like more new age and esoteric types of studies and disciplines, then maybe if I could find like that there's some kind of like crossroads where um, shamanism, transcendental meditation, um, and I'm probably putting this not in the most like if I really thought about this, I could develop this idea much more lucidly and have it like explained in a more kind of coherent way. But for now, let's just say all these, anything that like lies within non-consensual reality. If I found like within that, if within like the enlightened mind and like the transcendent mind, I could find where science can be married to that, infused with that, then perhaps I can find the doorway into entering the realm where the archetypal existence of movies such as Heather's 2 takes place, which Heather's 2 being a movie that hasn't actually made it to the silver screen yet, but is actually, nonetheless is a movie that exists because it exists on a certain level, on the archetypal level where these characters that I created for Heather's 2 exist. So if I could actually, find a way to fuse and marry science with my other um, explorations into the more esoteric and the supernatural, the all these other immaterial types of studies, I could actually find a way for people to actually enter that realm where Heather's 2 takes place, so that perhaps they can see within Heather's 2, they can enter the Dream Love Theater and see Heather's as seen by the eyes of love, which is a splicing of a moment in time, the very moment in time when I fell in love with Winona Ryder, the movie I rented from Video Store. I rented Heather's, and you could see the movie Heather's there in its entirety, along with my reactions. And you could see, like, you could glean a lot just from my facial expressions. Looking in my eyes, you could really read what's going on in my mind to some extent. Some things you don't have access to. So I just okay. So where was it? Did I finish the script? No. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So gleaned by observation, the exact moment that I fell in love with Winona Ryder watching Heather's on video at home could be seen in my eyes. So you are not only seeing the movie, but you are watching me watching the movie and getting a sense of the emotions that the movie inspired in me and how my love for Winona Ryder was brought to life by the movie. Give us 2 tickets for it. Sure.